know that most of your business comes from personal referrals, relationships that you already have, people who already trust you and want you to succeed, then how are you asking for referrals? So, this question actually came up in a coaching conversation with an Aligned by Design member. We were talking about the importance of staying in communication with has her VIPs. She has her top 20%. She tags as those that are likely to refer her or have referred her or have used her in the past for their real estate needs. And so I think this is common for all of us. Most of us in the real estate business do have a more relationship based business. That's what I'm finding, at least through all my years in this industry. Most of us have a database or a network of people who trust us and support us. And so when you get really clear about your top sources of business, this really helps, right? So you can define, as we call them on our team, our rock stars. And so we relaunched our Rockstar program this year. So this is top of mind for me as well as I was coaching her through this important question. Because she said, I just need to ask more, ask more. I need to just, as I'm ending the conversation, ask them for referrals. And I said, okay, how has that been working so far? But then also, how do you feel after you've finished up a personal conversation with someone that then they throw in some kind of a sales pitch? Um, Sometimes it can feel okay if you have a really deep connection with somebody. You want, again, for them to succeed. So you're okay with them asking, but it does kind of ick it up sometimes, right? At least I think so. And so, what if instead of asking them for a referral, which can feel icky and gross after you've had a really good, in depth, personal conversation about them, about what's important to them, a good two-way, you've gotten into flow with them because you like them and they like you. And so, what if instead of throwing out this just randomness of, oh, by the way, help me out here, what if we just use some magic phrases or words that allowed us to ask the question in a way that really gets them to think about not themselves, because it feels icky if we're trying to push the referral on them right that moment, but instead it helps them get really narrow in who you're looking to help. And so in this conversation, I said, well, you have beautiful listings right now, active listings, listings that are coming on the market. Is that right? Yeah, I do. You have an active buyer pipeline of potential buyers that are just waiting for the right home to come on the market. Is that true? Yes, that's true. Okay, so why not use the business you already do have when you're finishing up the conversation with them and asking them of, who do you know that might be interested in this beautiful new listing in this certain neighborhood or a certain area of town or fits certain criteria, fill in the blanks for what the property details are, that might be looking for something like this home. With your buyers, same exact thing. You are asking, I'm working with this amazing family and here's what they're looking for. We're just not quite finding it on the market. Who do you know that might have a home that could match their needs? And so the two things are happening here. You're releasing all of the stress off of putting it on them to think of a referral just out of the air, somebody who might need to buy or sell or invest in real estate, and you're helping them really hone in on the specifics. But the second piece of this, which I think is even more important, is you're showing them that you're a professional and that you're in the business of helping people buy and sell homes. And this is what you do for all your clients. So now you're making yourself even more referable because they see how hard you work for their clients and it might not be time for them yet, but now they're going to be more motivated to help you. You could even be more generic. I just first thought of like, well, let's just use the clients you're already working with as the segue to the ask, but maybe instead you could ask more generic questions like, who do you know who is a recent empty nester who might be looking for less space? Who do you know that might be interested in knowing the value of their home as we've seen so much appreciation and growth over the past few years. You could be more generic like that if you'd like. I just think, for my purposes, I think that using the other clients you're already working, not using, but using them in a good way to help them, because gosh, if you did find a buyer for your seller, wouldn't that be awesome? If you did find a listing for your buyer who's out there looking, wouldn't that be awesome? I think so. So these are just my thoughts of, yes, we want to ask for the referral, but how you ask matters. First, you have an cordial introduction and an important conversation with them about their life and what's happening, and then you finish politely with an ask in a way that puts the pressure off, takes all the pressure off of them. So let me know your thoughts if you are finding that you need to ask more questions, but maybe you need to think about how you're asking.